KeyTERRA-FIRMA Section drawing parameters. What we have here on screen is a very basic section type. It has a level and chainage on its own lines, and section polyline is here, and it shows some codes where the section line hits 3D polylines, and in this case we put the layer names of the polylines in a section. Now, to modify the way section is drawn, we need to create a section file first, and then when drawing it we get the dialog for all the options. Simplest section here, I just select the 3D polyline, make a section file of that with KTF, there we go. And now I click the draw section button, selecting the file, and here we get all the information. File information here, it's a file name, some information where it comes from, and here are the drawing parameters, which I show a bit more detail in a minute. I just start, and let's see how this 3D polyline looks like in a section view, and that's how it looks like. This is same type of section as the first one I showed, and if we want to change a little bit how this is drawn, we open up the draw dialog again, same file, and this time we select a different type. So this type has one data box and two lines on data box. First line is level, second line is chainage, and we add level as annotation, box 1, line 1, chainage on box 1, line 2. Okay, click the browse button, and you see that the first there are section types here. Next one, schematic view, has more boxes, different lines, different layers. Next, up to 10. They are box standard KeyTERRA-FIRMA sections, so section types, so you know when you can make your own section types, but you always have those box standard ones, KTF ones. For now I just select type B, which has 3 data boxes. First one is existing level and chainage. Next one would be for proposed level and chainage. And then comes vertical and horizontal elements. So this is, I guess, for row design, vertical design, something like that. And here in the other parts I can change the scaling, let's say 1 to 500 horizontally, also 1 to 500 vertically, so it's there's no exaggeration on this particular section now. And I want to draw not every vertex, which means when it's a question of polyline, it draws vertex at wherever polyline apexes are. I want to mark every regular interval. Start, put it here, and now you see text is bigger, and you'll notice the length of the polyline is actually same. It's always in real scale horizontally, so this distance here is 20 meters. The vertical acceleration simply means if it's a different scale it accelerates, or otherwise the section makes it sort of see the differences bigger, and so on. And here we have these boxes. First box has existing level and chainage, then comes proposed, and then comes the design ones. So these might be handy if you superimpose some other information here later on, or design on a section, and then these will be filled accordingly. Looking at some other options there to section drawing, we'll add on to that, go to draw section, same file again. So that's what you can change in the main screen. And on drawing options you get lots of options here. Let's put a grid on. What kind of grid? 3 options. Could be a grid mesh, or level indicator lines on the edges of the section, or chainage and level crosses along the section data area. and there's the some parameters for those information. And on the right hand side here is vertical marking should always be polyline. Datum marking, as you see, it's triangle, could be an arrow or no marking there. Reference position below section, so that's the way the reference section name is, and the scaling, and they are at the moment below section. Okay, let's see how that looks like. I made one change there, so now there's these vertical elevation lines here on the edges of the section. Like I said, you can have a mesh and whatever. And furthermore, let's look at a little bit there. In the section type itself, you can specify what layers each item go, what colors and so on, for every option there. And further drawing options there, annotating this and that. You can even draw a section without the section polyline. Don't know why, but that option is there. And a few other things. Datum drop value, so just 2 meters below the lowest point of section, you can change that. Vertex height and so on. So you experiment with these. Once you get it right, didn't change anything. Oh, every vertex. Okay, let's draw it like that. And now, if you use the rapid sections, rapid from 3D, and we select these 3D polylines here, and then point to point, let's say here, I put a section over there, and now it's whatever style the last section was when you were drawing it from a file, it will be that. That's how you change section parameters for longitudinal sections. Looking at how to change cross-section parameters, very similar to long sections. So these are long sections we just work with, just call them sections because they are more common. So cross-sections, I'll create a cross-section file of some kind and then look at what kind of parameters they are. A couple of minor differences. So creating cross-sections from 3D polylines, for example. So I select center line, would be this tangential polyline here, straight and arc. And just window select 3D polylines, and I call it 2.sek, and just any kind of section file, doesn't really matter. So creating that, let's go and draw it. Draw cross sections, and the dialog box looks similar but not quite the same as with drawing long section. So here section type is same as with long section, and here in drawing options you see slight differences. Auto datum is an option here if your sections vary a lot. Some lowest level would be 10 and some others lowest level would be 70. You can have an auto datum drop rate 2, so 2 meters below the lowest section point. It creates the datum for that particular section. I don't use it for now. Just use the automatically selected 73, which seems to be here. Now vertical spacing, you adjust that to make it appropriate. Nothing much different here, and then you start, and here are the sections. So basically same settings as with the long section, except this auto datum, not two other things.